Jofo in the ring, and yes, my name is Frank Jofo, and we have two special guests. In my opinion, my favorite tag team in Montreal today, Casanova Productions, Matt Viviani, and JT Producer. What's going on, guys?
How you doing, Jofo? What's going on, buddy?
Doing great.
So, just to get into the action here, we're going to talk about IWS, but first, if everyone that's watching right now recognizes the man at the bottom here, JT Producer, aka Giordano, he was on Monday Night Raw and on SmackDown these past couple of weeks on WWE TV. Can you tell us the experience you had on Monday Night Raw fighting Omas?
Well, first of all, that wasn't actually me. That was a very compelling lookalike named Joey Gibson.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, it's probably the most surreal week of my life because I've done extra work before. Along with Matt, we both went to NXT back in January 2020.
Okay, wow.
And we actually didn't end up doing anything. We kind of just got there and they kind of just paid us to sit there and watch everything. But still, it's an experience. You know, you get to kind of sit there and
Of course
take everything in. So for this, when I sent the email and I got a response right away. Now, first of all, I was only booked for SmackDown originally in Winnipeg. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll see you in Winnipeg. And then Saturday night, I got a message from the leader of the extras there, which is Kenny Dykstra.
Okay.
He asked if I could be there for Raw, also in Edmonton. Now, I'm thinking that the Raw is after SmackDown. For example, so the SmackDown was on the 30th, and Raw would be October 3rd.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, like, yeah, no worries. I can be there, no problem. After I replied to the email, I was checking out the dates, and I saw that the Raw was actually prior to the SmackDown, a.k.a. 2 days from when I got that email. So I was like, oh, shit. Okay, well, better rearrange my entire life and make it to Edmonton, which I did, and clearly it worked out. One embarrassing thing that happened when I got there, though, is that the call time was at 1 p.m., so I got there at 12:30 because I'm trying to be professional, trying to show, that I know what I'm doing.
Of course.
Unfortunately, the call time was 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, no.
And we're in Edmonton, which operates on Mountain Time, a.k.a. the call time was 11. But it turned out to be okay because when they run TV, everyone's in such a kind of a hassle that the extras weren't even looked at yet. So it was all fine.
Okay.
So I went in, we filled out their W-8s and all that stuff they needed us to do. And when we got to the medical, because they had to clear it, even though we do a full physical and got to require blood work to do this extra gig, when we got there, they still require the doctor they have to clear you for anything, because something that day could be wrong.
Okay.
For example, one guy that was there with us didn't get cleared for any physicality because his blood pressure was too high.
Oh, wow.
Because they take it really seriously for insurance.
So they're that strict about it. Okay,
You
know what? At least they're looking out for you in the end, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's they're the pros when it comes to this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we were in line for medical, and that's when Jamie Noble walks by, and he asks all of us. There's about 12 of us in the you see, pretty much everyone who was an extra that was there was also part of the Miz Force in the same episode of Raw.
Okay.
So Jamie Noble asks which of us have experience. Most of us raise our hands. He looks at me right away, tells me and Mo, the gentleman that I teamed with.
Yes.
Okay, guys, get cleared by medical. Get your gear on. Come in the ring. At this point, I'm just like, you couldn't tell me this, after we did the medical because a guy just got told no.
Yeah.
For his blood pressure being too high. Now I gotta go in there after hearing this. I'm like, fantastic. So I go in. I'm sitting down. They're taking my blood pressure. I'm like doing like meditation, breathing exercises, just trying to get my heart rate down because I'm not. It's not that I'm so nervous about having a match. I'm more nervous now about passing this medical.
Did you know? Did you know you were gonna fight Omas at that point, or you just did?
We had no idea what we were doing.
Okay, perfect.
Get gear on, come to the ring.
Okay.
So we passed the medical. Everything's all good. Throw my gear on. Head down to the ring, and that's when we find out what we're doing because we meet up with MVP Omas and Jamie Noble.
Oh my god!
And they're like, okay, so it's gonna be 2-on-1 against Omas. And I'm thinking okay, perfect. I've without revealing past gimmicks I've been doing with Matt, I'm pretty used to doing squash matches. So we go over what he wants to do and everything. And I'll tell you this about Omas. I think he might be one of the crispest guys I've ever encountered in the ring.
Really?
Like, I don't. It's because when I meet guys like him, it's like I don't really trust what the internet ever says about someone because I know like the stigma he has because he's a large guy. Because this man is gigantic. He is the biggest man I ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first time I think there's no exaggeration in the build height. This man is literally 7'3", 400 pounds.
Yeah.
You don't have to exaggerate that because he is that. So everything we went over in the ring, he was able to hit perfectly. There were some things that the producer, because they had producers for each match, right? So our producers were MVP and Jamie Noble, and for the ending, Triple H was involved.
Wow.
So we went over the opening spot, which was the shit can, which is when he threw us over the top ropes. They kept asking me repeatedly, can I go over the top rope backwards? I said, yes, I've done it several times. They wanted to see it. I did it. I fucking nailed it because it's a simple spot when you know how to land.
Yeah.
They're happy with that. And the other spot they're worried about was the part where he lifted me up from the ring, from the floor with one hand.
Okay.
Because that's just how strong this guy was. He actually legitimately was able to lift me from one hand. I mean, people keep saying, yeah, your grip was good. Yeah, but my grip, he's still lifting. I'm 210 pounds, on a light day. So he was still able to do it. The spot that Triple H got involved in was actually the ending pose on the announce table. That was something. So he comes over because they really want to nail this shot of him over his conquered carcasses.
Yeah.
Just, like with the hand raised, MVP over there, like also in view, like with his cane, like saying, look at my giant over here. So we went over that spot for a solid 10, 20 minutes, just like trying to get the angle right properly. Meanwhile, I'm just lying down on the table. Now, obviously, it was only 3 seconds when I first got on the table, when Triple H asked me, hey, just do me a favor, get on the table. But in that time, I felt like an hour because I lie down on the table, like face down. My ass is sticking up and everything. And it's Triple H, MVP, and Jamie Noble just staring and saying nothing for a solid 3 seconds. So I had the awkward feeling of like, oh shit, what are they looking at? Like, do I have a hole in my pants or something? What is it? And then Triple H, who's actually a surprisingly well-spoken guy and very soft-spoken too, we're just like, yeah, this works. This works. All right, put the other guy on top. All right, I'm Oscar on top, and there we go. Now, before the actual match happened, like I was telling this to Matt, it felt like I was in like a my career mode of SmackDown versus Raw or something. Because there's not really that much separation between the extras and the main roster anymore. Because where the extras locker room was and where catering was, where most of the guys are spending most of their time, were right next to each other. So you have to walk past everybody. So I'm literally just walking backstage in my gear, which I have designed in the video game before. Because I used to use the video game as a gear maker in a sense. So I'm walking around in my tights, just having like little casual conversations because half the time you get stuck waiting next to somebody because they're filming a promo or a segment down the hallway. So you need everybody out of the hallway, everybody being quiet. So doing that, I got stuck talking to Miz for a while. I mean, got stuck. I mean, it was a privilege to talk to these guys.
Of course.
So I got to talk to Miz. I got to talk to Edge. I got to talk to AJ. And I had a fantastic talk with MVP before he went out. Because something that was really surprising to me is that I was not nervous at all. Like, I had no nerves. Like, this is the home of the Oilers, and it was sold out. Like, it's
well, it was. They said it was one of the biggest Raws in a long time.
Oh yeah, I believe it because I remember right. That show was supposed to happen in January.
Yeah,
and it got canceled due to COVID and everything. So they moved it to this date. So all those tickets were honored for this, plus whatever other tickets they would sell for it. So it would sell out right away. But I was talking to MVP, and he was asking me how I was feeling, if I felt good about everything. I said, yeah, I feel great. And then I asked him, is it weird that I don't feel nervous? He's like, nope, that means you want it. That means you're here. That means like you're dialed in, And he spent a solid 10 minutes just talking to me, saying like, listen, but when you're out there, man, just take it all in. Like, this is like the NFL. Like, you're here. Like, so when you get time in between, whatever, like just make sure you're having fun, like enjoy it. This is the reason why, like you've been pursuing this, right? So make sure that you make it worth your while and realize where you're at while you're out there. And it was really cool of him to do that for me. It was great. The actual match itself was very fast, but like everything, the only thing going through my head was I want to nail everything he gives me, which I think I did. Because when I got backstage, I went back to the Gorilla afterwards, and Jamie Noble and MVP and everybody's just saying like, "Oh man, great job." I was looking for critiques. Everyone just kept saying how they loved everything, and then Triple H looked up because he now sits in Vince's seat, obviously.
Okay.
So Triple H looked up, just gave me a little thumbs up, like, good sell. I was like, okay. And then, I mean, you can't get much better praise than that.
I had a guy on the show last year. He was he had a squash match with Omas. His name is Leo Sparrow, Nick Sanders, a one-on-one match, and he told me that he hits it just as hard as everyone thinks he does. It's real in there with him. Everything hurts. 400 plus pounds, 7'3". How did it feel to get manhandled by him like that in the ring like that?
I've never felt so light. I can tell you that. Like he was able to lift me with one hand from the floor to the apron. When he gave me the hard way into the ring, it was all him. I barely had to move. He just kind of just flipped me. And I feel like the bump looked more genuine that way because it was legitimate. And the shoulder tackle was something. Let me tell you, that was like, if I didn't know how to bump, like that shoulder tackle would show me the right way to do it. Because either like there was no option there. You get hit, you're going down. That's it. But he's also 400 pounds, right? It's just
exactly.
The man's a beast.
That other guy took a hell of a boot to the face, man. It fucking it cleaved him.
Oh yeah. I saw that from my corner of my eye when I was selling the stairs.
He got smoked.
Have you ever wrestled with Mo in any events, or have you known him before that? Was that the first time you guys actually met?
No, and I've realized how big Canada is as a country, where even like you hear about promotions, whatever. Like he is actually very close friends with the Hart family.
Yeah,
like he trains with TJ Wilson and Brett like regular occasions. Like he goes to Brett's house.
Okay,
to go train with him privately there, and I believe he is also the booker for Brett's own promotion, which I was not aware that he actually had until I met him. But no, it was my first time meeting him. Everyone that was there were mostly local to Calgary and also Manitoba. Andrew Love was there. He's from the Maritimes.
Okay.
He wrestles in Toronto pretty often. And Emmanuel, who's another Toronto-based wrestler, was also there. We were the only three East Coast guys.
So you were basically representing Montreal, Quebec, and Monday Night Raw that night, yeah.
Yep. As Matt pointed out, actually, this stat, I'm the first Quebecer to have a match on Raw since 2.0. First unsigned Quebecer to have a match on Raw since 2.0.
Wow, congratulations on that. Matt, I know you were watching. What were you feeling as this tag team partner here in IWS? What were you feeling about all this in the ring here against the 7'3" Omas?
I was super excited for it, man. I just wanted to see, if is Omas gonna kill this fucker? Like,
do I need a new tag team partner? Or
because he mentioned, so like Giordano smartened me up to like what he was doing like a couple hours before, so like it wasn't a surprise. Like I knew it was coming, and he told me exactly what segment. So I was waiting with my
because I called my parents to tell them. And then I told him and Andrew. Then those were the only two people that knew.
Well, you know what? Now that I look back at it, I have you on Instagram, and I saw that you were flying to Edmonton, but it didn't click until I saw you. When I was like,
it did for nobody. Shit. Nobody got it.
Nobody got it. And then when you were flying to Winnipeg, I kind of put two and two together. We'll talk about that later. But the Edmonton post didn't click at all. So for me watching it, I'm like, holy shit. I go, that's fucking JT. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and when he messaged me and told me everything I was doing, the original plan had him going through the announcer table. So I was fucking waiting to see that. I'm like, oh boy. And then I noticed though in the match before, Kevin Owens put somebody through the table. So I'm like, are they gonna do it twice? I guess not.
Well, that's what they were saying, right? They were saying, well, we just reinforced the table. Yeah. We can't do it again. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, the guy's going through I thought both you guys were going to go through the table, bitch. In the end, if he really wanted to, I'm pretty sure he could have.
What was the bump going to be? Were you getting choke bombed through the table or what?
Well, the conversation lasted about 2 seconds, and then they decided to give it to the other match, from what I was told.
Okay.
Because Omas was the one who was like saying, like, oh, apparently want me to. So I'm not sure if it was me either a misunderstanding on his part or he thought like we were legitimately going to the table. But if I had to guess, I would have guessed it would have been the choke bomb through it.
Yeah.
On me through the table or something because
I can't remember the like if ever an extra got put through the announcer table.
Probably not from what I know. But if you want to make a statement, I think that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
So after this. Now you obviously on Monday Night Raw on Monday. Did you know you were going to be on SmackDown on the Friday?
Yes. So when SmackDown was what I was originally only booked for. I wasn't booked for Edmonton. Yeah. So when Mr. Dykstra hit me up asking if I can be on Raw too, I said absolutely I can be there. Okay, cool. I'll confirm you for Raw and SmackDown then. Which actually worked out because when I got to SmackDown, the medical was already done for the week for them. So all they had to do was check my blood pressure, and that was it.
Perfect.
There was a dark match that was supposed to happen. I was there with Ben Ortmans. It was supposed to be us in the dark match, from what I understand, but plans changed, things happen. So
yeah, of course,
we actually ended up giving it to the other East Coast kids, Andrew Love and Emmanuel. So they got the Wrestle Imperium in the opening of SmackDown in the dark match, which is exciting for them. And then we got used as security for the brawl between Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey.
Now, Ronda Rousey, everybody knows who Ronda Rousey is. I'm sure being security is one thing, but being security to stop Ronda Rousey from going crazy is another. What was the setup for that? And before that, if you want to talk about it, how was that all set up with Ronda and Liv and all the securities? I know
we
Ben
were
was there
told
too.
just separate them.
Okay,
just get them away from each other. We said, okay, sure. Now, Liv and Ronda are like Ronda already has a reputation. You know, she was the best woman on the planet.
Yeah.
Liv is also scrappy as fuck. This girl was actively trying to claw away from us to get at her. It was it looked as real as it did because it was legitimately real. At one point, actually, when we're able to finally get Liv off of Ronda, and we all kind of fell to the floor, there's a point where I have Liv around the waist. He's trying to hold her down because this girl does not quit. And Ronda breaks free from the other security guys, and she runs over to give a left jab to Liv. She completely misses Liv and just gets me right in the face. And let me tell you something. You can tell this woman made a living off of knocking people out because my God, that she even on that I don't know, she really even pulling it to still it hurt like a bitch. It was something.
So being on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, I know it's two different shows technically. Is there a difference backstage in Monday Night Raw and SmackDown?
Not really. It's probably one of the most professional environments we've ever experienced just in life. Everyone there, first of all, one thing I know is how pleasant everyone is. You can tell everyone there really does enjoy their job. There was nobody there sulking or being upset. It's everyone there loves what they're doing, and it seems like they all get along with their coworkers. And it's just amazing how efficient they are at everything they do. They have a person in charge of everything, and you can tell that person's a master of their craft. Whenever they need something, there's someone right there with who's just on it. For everything I've seen, this from the producers that operate the matches, from the directors that run the backstage segments, whatever, everything is just quality, and it has to be because it's a multi-billion-dollar company. I get that, but when you see it live in person, actually happening in front of you, it's truly amazing. The professionalism behind it all.
You said it was Jamie Noble that was behind the match, the producer for the match?
Yeah, Jamie Noble. Was
just Jamie Noble. There was nobody else that was.
From what I understood, John Cohn was supposed to be the liaison for the extras, but I didn't see him that night on Monday. But with the hurricane and everything happening, it was kind of hard for a lot of workers to get to Canada because a lot of them live in Florida. So I guess maybe that was the reason.
So one day, Omas, let's say a year or two from now, becomes the WWE champion. I think we could thank you, in a sense, to helping him catapult to that position there. Do you think that he'll become a WWE champion one day?
I can say easily, just from the reaction he got from the live crowd, it's easy to judge someone from on TV, right? Because you're just watching from TV. You don't really get the scope of him. But hearing the awe coming from the crowd when they actually did see him in person, it's something. It's. I'm sure it was the same thing when Andre used to come out. It's when you see someone that size, it's easy to see where the marketability comes from because, man, you can't teach that, man.
Let's go back to the IWS now. I know, guys, October 15th, you guys are going to be facing the sexy beast, Sexy Eddie, the Animal, and Frankie Milano. Frankie Milano, you guys faced at the last event, which, if anyone doesn't know, you guys beat Evil Uno and Cool Hand Ange and Frankie Milano. Tell us how the match was with at the last event, because I know that Cool Hand Ange, no, Daddy Magic was supposed to be there, but he was injured. So there was a lot of you guys didn't know what the hell was going on. You guys didn't really know who you guys were going to be facing that night. And on top of that, you guys came out the winners, which I was really excited about.
Yeah, it was it was a hell of a day, to be honest. A hell of a week. That week leading into the match was just a tornado of just ideas and potential replacements. We didn't have the fucking graphic for the match. We didn't know who our opponents were. I couldn't, like, when I'm going into a big match, like especially like fucking Olympia, like I like to visualize the match that's coming up, start mentally preparing, thinking of things I'm going to do, how I'm going to react, fucking little in-betweens in matches. Okay, here would be a good opportunity to do this, good spot to do that. But we had no idea what we were doing. We weren't even like 100% sure that we were on the show at one point. Because at one point they're like, okay, well, if Big Magic can't get there and we can't get a replacement, we can't do a handicap match, we might just do Shayne Hawke versus Parker with Matt and JT as managers. So I'm like, fuck. I'm like, well, literally, I think it was like 48 hours before the show, the match was finalized. I think they got Uno like the day before, Milano 2 days before.
Uno was verified maybe like a day and a half before the actual show.
That was a big surprise. I was telling everybody it was going to be Daniel Garcia because of the ties with 2.0 at the time, because he was still friends in a sense in AEW with 2.0 because they were in the Jericho's Appreciation Society. That's not the case now, but so
every name you can think of that could have been a replacement was discussed. Literally.
Okay.
And reached out to.
Okay,
but
Evil Uno ended up being the replacement, and it was to me it was a great match. It was entertaining. The little shtick they had at the end there with the handshake and everything. Shayne Hawke, to me, honestly, puts you guys. I know that he's an established wrestler. He's one of probably the best heels in professional wrestling in Montreal. That's why I love him. That's why I love you guys. Now you guys are paired together. How's the journey been with Shayne Hawke, and what has he been teaching you along the way?
Oh, it's been great.
I was actually trained by Andrew at first when I first started my career in 2012. So for me, it's more like it's kind of just been like a refresh of all the lessons I learned back then to now, because we've been traveling together a lot lately. From doing all the tours in Europe and the States. So teaming up with him now has kind of, for me, just been a flashback back to when I first started training. Except now he's a lot more, I'd say, passionate about what he says to me, because when I don't listen now, he's just like, well, now there's no excuse because now I've been doing this for 10 years, right? And when it comes to actually, it all kind of also just goes back, funny enough, to Scarred for Life 2021, when the Heritage put us through a table, and we got backstage and we realized something's got to change about our fucking whole gimmick, whatever, in it. And as soon as it did, man, I say our careers have really taken off since then.
Yeah, it's time. We just need a different color jacket and everything changes.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Well, the last time I had Matt on the show, and he was also known as Fernando de la Cruz, and that was the time when he was going to be transitioning to Casanova Productions with JT producer, and to me, I didn't really know who you were, JT, and now that I've seen you in the ring, I've seen your entertainment side of yourself, the wrestling too, I'm fucking hooked. I love this fucking tag team, and honestly, the one thing I want to, where the music that you guys have now, that's not the original music you had, Matt, when you were coming on.
No.
Where'd you guys come up with that music?
So when we were talking about the change, I don't remember if I mentioned in the last podcast, but I was fucking around on my phone and changing the background, and I saw this cool synthwave background. I'm like, fuck, that would look sick on a pair of tights. And that was honestly the original inspiration for the gimmick change. And I was listening to more and more synthwave music on Spotify, and I told Giordano about the idea, and he found the song. He was originally going to use it as a single song.
Okay. And
then we came out to it together, and everything just fucking worked the way it was. So, bam.
Yeah. For wrestling, mostly aesthetics, right? So once you got a good aesthetic, it's really all you need.
Well, and I gotta say, there's a very similar song on a certain show on TBS by a certain couple of Canadian fuckers that we wrestled. Quite a similar song. Not the same, but give it a listen. Wonder where they got that.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to agree with that. But hey, what do I know? But
I mean, I got a couple DMs that can verify the similarity.
That's great. You guys pinned the tag team champions. Is there going to be a match in the future against the Black Quebecois?
I'm happy you brought this up, because anyone with two eyes and half a brain can tell you that Casanova Production is the real current number one contenders for the IWS Tag Team Championships, and we've been for a while. Nobody in Quebec has had a year like we've had since the rebranding, if you will. Sure, we started the year off with a loss, but that was against the returning 2.0.
Yeah.
Which a loss that we have actually gotten back, thanks to maybe you can say Matt Lee wasn't there, Big Magic wasn't there, so that was a whole different thing. And because it wasn't really 2.0 at full force. However, we still count that as they're getting a win back. And besides the initial loss 2.0, we have not lost a match in IWS since. We've beaten basically Choir Boys. We've beaten the Black Quebecois, who are the tag team champions. We've beaten the Heritage.
Yep.
On October 15th, we'll get our first win back with the Sexy Beast. That's when we rebranded. They were our first opponents.
Yeah.
We've toured Europe, like as I said. We've toured US, as I said. We're not being like most other Quebec wrestlers who are arguably fantastic, but they only want to wrestle in their own backyards.
Yeah.
We're the ones branching out and actually bringing like the Quebec name to multiple places, multiple countries. And I've done the WWE stuff, as you said.
Yeah.
There's no other team more deserving than us for a tag team title shot. But as Matt said, revealed today about his current situation, there is a reason why we can't really challenge for them right now.
But going forward, I know you have a little rivalry in another federation, Matt, with Frankie Milano, so it should be an interesting match. Is there anything that we have to look forward to in this match against Sex Yeti, the veteran in this match? And you got Bob the Animal Anger that's hungry, as no pun intended, to get those tag team titles as well.
Yeah. As you know, me and Milano have a long history. We killed each other for over 3 years, in and out of the pandemic, over an XZW, over the Gen X title. He ended my historic reign of 1,000, 100, whatever the fuck days it was. And Sexy Eddie, I've had a few matches with him too. I love working with Eddie, man. The guy's like made out of rubber, man. Like the way this guy bumps, man. He makes everything look like $1 million. And I think Andy the Animal, I was in one match with him before, and I called it the match that gave me wrestling PTSD for a little bit. It was one of my first matches. It was a fucking 6-man tag at Club Unity, where I'm not going to name names, but one motherfucker kept breaking up a pin he wasn't supposed to, and it happened about 3 or 4 fucking times. I think I took Andy's finish 3 times in a row. And then I ended up just getting pinned by Mike Remedy off a fucking random cutter that I called to him because I was fed up. I remember going backstage for that one. I get backstage and I'm thinking I'm done. I'm never going to get booked again. And this match was a fucking train wreck. And then Matt Lee comes up to me. He's like, what happened out there, huh? I'm like, I told him, explain to him what happened. He's like, son of a bitch. He's like, I would have left. I would have just left the ring. I went backstage. Figure it out, boys.
I got another Matt Lee impression from you, Matt. I love it. Two interviews in a row. I love it. I know you guys lost to 2.0 the first time. You technically beat them the second time without Danny Magic there. In the future, is there going to be a match? 2.0 versus Casanova Productions one last time. I want to see it. What do you guys
for
think?
sure. Maybe even on go on.
We gotta do the rubber. That's how it is, man. Let's listen. They got one over on us, we got one over on them. This time for the third one, I wouldn't be surprised if it will be a 3-on-3 and they actually have someone else, that they actually, would make sense to team with.
Yeah. And if
people do want to argue that the reason why we beat them last at Scarred for Life was because they didn't have a real team with them. It was just 3 single dudes. But so if they want to have a third one and they want to find someone who's actually got experience teaming with them, by all means, bring it.
Matt,
it's amazing how this feud's evolved though, from us wanting to branch out on our own, which we've done, and want to kill the influence that they had on us because they had a huge influence on us. To now them just fucking blatantly stealing our gimmick and doing it on live TV.
Yeah, white. Everybody's in white jackets all of a sudden. Even Jericho himself. We inspired the great Chris Jericho.
What's going on here, Jericho? You fucking taking ideas from my boys here, fuck. What's going on here, fuck?
It's like we told a joke and they told it louder. It's just how it is.
Yeah, we might have to go talk to him at Foops when he comes and performs with his band.
No, actually, I think they canceled it.
They canceled it? He's scared of us. That's what happened. He's scared. He doesn't want to face the cast prods.
Yeah. So I asked Matt about his background when we had him on the show, but JT, can you tell us the background of JT, the producer? Where does that name come from for you, for the rest of the wrestling?
So my favorite things about wrestling, and it's hilarious, this was it, is I always loved the promo packages. Like I used to love watching like the mini music videos that I played before pay-per-views. That would like start off the shows, whatever, that would like highlights the feuds. I thought that stuff was fantastic. So when I got into SageEp, when I got to college, I started studying film and editing because I wanted to learn how to make those.
Okay.
So I also realized very early on when I first started training for wrestling, if you want to guarantee yourself a spot in any company, have multiple roles in that company. So I became a video editor for a lot of places. And when IWS came back, I truly do feel I shaped the aesthetic of what the independent wrestling scene looks like today, because before IWS came back and before I got involved as the producer for it, like Windows Movie Maker was like the standard software people were using to make videos, whatever. Outdated entrance videos with like footage from 10 years ago that was all grainy and like 280p.
Yeah.
The set designs are always mediocre, just a speaker and like maybe a black curtain. IWS coming back really made everybody else change their entire look, which I think benefited everybody, which also helped the independents reach the renaissance they have now. So along with doing that, I just became known as the producer because I used to be part of a comedy sketch group with Evil Uno back like 10 years ago called the Nerd Slam.
Okay.
And the editor for that used to give us little nicknames for one of the shows that would come up in like a little like nameplate. And one of those times that came up was Giordano, the producer. And me and Uno was told them, that's a great name. So I started wrestling under that moniker. And then as time progressed, I realized that a lot of people kept asking me what my real name was because they thought Giordano was a gimmick name. It's my real name, whatever. And then when Fernando dropped his identity and switched to Matt Viviani, I realized I might want to shorten mine too to make it easier to fit on graphics. So JT producer got born. It's as much as a gimmick as it is my real life, though, because I really am the producer for most of these federations you see me in.
There you go. That's fucking. You know what? The more you know, because in the end, I didn't know you were a producer. The way I thought of it, you were a wrestler and everything. So to have your hands in a lot of these things, I guess it's beneficial to you going forward in this business, because just being a wrestler sometimes maybe it doesn't cut it. Sometimes maybe you have to be into production and the editing and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool to know. Minoru Suzuki is going to be at this event. He's going to be going against Kevin Blanchard. You guys have any predictions for that match? And how excited are you to have Minoru Suzuki in Montreal for the first time, if I'm not mistaken?
It's going to be a lot of meat being slapped.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm expecting to see some blood, honestly.
Lots of chops, over and under on the chops.
Someone's getting a black eye. Something's going to happen. These guys are going to kill each other.
I'm excited to see it.
I know you guys are a tag team. I honestly want you guys to become the tag team champions. Unfortunately, it might have to be an expense to my friends, the Black Quebecois, but
I don't really think Jeremy cares either, since he kind of fucked off for 3 months. But whatever.
That's the business we're in. But eventually, I'm sure, and like everyone, like all tag teams do, they all break up. They all go for singles titles. You guys have any singles titles ambitions in the future in IWS or maybe in another federation in Canada or in the US?
We'll cross that road when we get there.
Yeah, so for right now, I'm really enjoying what we're doing, and it's been a very successful run as of so far. It's only been we're only 1 year into the rebrand, and look what we've accomplished so far.
Yeah,
So I think
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. So if I can see Andrew getting on our nerves at some point because the man is the professor. So once in a while you want to rebel against your authority figures, but besides that, right now we're on top of the world. So why jump off?
Hey, you know what? That's a good point, Mike, because I like that, because you guys seem like you're having fun in the ring. Like I said, you guys ooze fucking charisma. I love it. I don't know who you described you guys to another tag team, but you guys are original. I love it. And 2.0, guaranteed they're stealing all your fucking gimmicks. This is ridiculous here. But hopefully one day we'll get to have Daddy Magic and Cool and Ange in IWS so we can have this rematch. But hopefully one day you guys do become the tag team champions against the Black Quebecois. But we'll see. Only time will tell, right?
Yeah, whoever it is, man. When the time comes, we're taking those belts. We want all the belts, not just those belts. You want every belt there is.
Every single one. Listen, there's a reason why we're not currently challenging for those titles, and anyone who holds those titles consider yourself lucky it's the case.
Before, even in singles titles doesn't mean that you guys have to be against each other to go for singles titles. You guys have a good faction there.
I have a question. If we're going singles, then what other competition will we have besides each other?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Unless you guys have to face each other for those titles, and that's a different story. Right?
Then we'll finally both have a worthy contest, I think.
Finger pokes of doom all around.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll all be 8-time champions in a month.
Yeah, no worries.
Is there any? I know that AEW Toronto is going to be coming around the corner very shortly. Any news or any insight on what's going on? Will you guys be there? As a fan, will you be there as a wrestler? What's the story?
I will, in fact, be there. I will be paying a visit to our buddies, Cool and Ange and Angela Parker. See how they're doing, see how Matt's shoulder's doing, and see about maybe having that rematch. And as for what else could be happening, who knows? But I do know the producer gets things done, so we just wait and see.
Yeah, and we get smashed by Wardlow.
Yeah, maybe.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Like I said, you guys are my favorite tag team. Hopefully one day you do beat those Black Quebecois, get those tag team titles once and for all. You want to tell everybody, starting with Matt, where everyone can find you on social media so they could support you in your journey?
I made it real simple. I'm at Matt Viviani on just about every social media there is. No numbers, no bullshit. Just search my name and you'll find me.
JT.
You can find me at JT_producer on Instagram. JT producer __ on Twitter, and that's pretty much it. You can find a link to my link tree also there, and you'll bring into all the other fun stuff. I recommend following me on Instagram though, because that's where I'll be posting most of my more fun stuff these days.
Yeah, man. If you got any IWS fans watching us, buy our goddamn merch, you bastards.
There you go, guys. If you have a merch,
we got colorful posters. Probably the nicest posters there are. Is reaching for one.
There you go. I got mine.
Yeah, I know. And that son of a bitch, Jeremy, threw it on the floor, calling us cats the nobodies. This guy's lucky he's in Atlanta.
That's all right.
And we actually have pre-orders right now. They're almost all sold out for our T-shirts, so we might have to order even more so we can have some for the shows. But we're going to be sharing the graphic again probably this week for our new T-shirt coming out. It looks amazing. $25 sizes from small to XL or double XL, I believe. So keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out for these guys. These guys are the future of tag team wrestling in Canada and all around the world, because these guys have been all around the world the last couple of months. And guys, like I said, thank you very much for being on the show. And everybody out there, remember, wrestling is life.
So, Jofo, I'm a gargle a shot for Kurt hitting it, everybody, before we go.
Oh, no.
Jofo, thank you, guys.